Yeah, what you need?
Can you do something?
Yeah, I'll turn it up. It just went off.
Can I tell about myself?
Are you done with your bell ringer? Go ahead and finish your bell ringer, and then we'll get, I'm gonna go fill that up.
I have my seal.
You don't have your bell ringer sheet from yesterday? They said they did that there.
Swear to God, I had it in there. I just-
He's got his, so. That's not it. Leo and Andrew. Gonna make me get some more paper for y'all.
I see it, it was yesterday. I remember. But he looked at it and said it was, couldn't see it.
There's two there again. Is there two? Just one? There's two people over there. You can tell if this thing is. Just keep it.
I couldn't tell.
It's okay. Just keep it. Is everybody done? Alright, switch papers with somebody. I didn't know you wanted that one. Okay. What? No. Just. Alright. So, like always, just raise your hand if you wanna answer, alright? Number one, wild animals attack people most often when the animal's what? Andrew? D, sense danger. Did you just tell that from reading, or did you already know that? Already knew it, just kind of inferred it. Anybody else? Just kind of knew it?
At first I was gonna pick something else, not gonna lie, but then I was like,
What else were you thinking?
I was gonna pick ARC.
AFC? Yeah, that's what you would think, but they're kind of acclimated to those kind of loud noises and stuff already, you know? So it's when only when they sense danger.
And then I realized,
Gotcha, good. Number two, Melvin Kuntz is able to train wild animals because he what? Jemiah?
I put B.
B, does not fear them, right. Because they don't, animals like that, those wild animals like lions or anything like that, they wouldn't like it if they sense fear in you. They wouldn't be able to be around you. They'd try to be dominant. Alright, number three. Melvin Kuhn's story of his work proves that what? Charlie? C, hard work sometimes brings success. Good job. Alright, will somebody pick up the purple papers?
Me?
Go ahead, Jemiah. Alright, once you get your stuff put up, go to page 307 in the book. 307.
Wait, what page?
307. Alright, so what we're about to read about is a speech made by a Native American chief to Congress in 1879. And this is just him going and basically telling his story to Congress and what's happened to his tribe over the last 13 years. Since, because this is basically right after the Civil War, and this is when they started putting Native Americans in reservations and started moving them across the country and taking them out of their homeland and taking them somewhere far away because they either want the resources that are under the ground where the Indians live or the Indians have just better land in general. So they moved them to places like Oklahoma, Idaho, South Dakota, places with not as good land, more desolate land, okay? So I'm gonna read the background, but I want one person to read the entire speech. It's not very long, but I just need one person. Charlie can read it. And I'm gonna read the background, so pay attention to the background, then we'll talk more about it before Charlie starts, okay? In 1863, the Nez Perce tribe refused to sign a treaty that would make them move from their ancestral land in Oregon to a much smaller reservation in Idaho. Despite the refusal, the United States government sent in federal troops to force the Nez Perce off of their land. In response, Chief Joseph led his people toward Canada in a 3-month, 1,600-mile flight across the Rocky Mountains. He eventually surrendered to General Mills miles in 1877, under the terms that his tribe could return to their homeland. Instead, the Nez Perce were sent to Oklahoma, and half of them died during their trip. In one of many appeals to Congress on behalf of his people, Chief Joseph made this speech in 1879 in Washington, D.C. Okay, so things we need to know. When it says Chief Joseph led his people toward Canada in a 3-month, 1,600-mile flight, that just means like they're leaving their land. It doesn't mean they're actually flying anywhere. 3-month flight, that just means they're walking toward Canada, but they're walking, going through, they're not flying, okay? And is there anything else I really want to tell you? Their tribe was the Nez Perce. Half of them died on the trip whenever they got captured by the army, and they were bringing them back to Oklahoma. Half of them died on that trip, and they lied to them in the process. They were supposed to be taking them back to Oregon, but they took them to Oklahoma instead. And that's a grueling trip. That's why half of them died. I mean, they probably didn't have the resources to feed them, and it's partially the government's fault why those people died. So think about that stuff as you listen to this speech from the chief of those people. Go ahead, Charlie.
I do not understand why nothing is done for my people. I have heard talk and talk, but nothing is done. Good words do not last long unless they amount to something. Words do not pay for my dead people. They do not pay for my country, now overrun by white men. They do not protect my father's grave. They do not pay for all my horses and cattle. Good words will not give me back my children. Good words will not make good the promise of your war chief, General Miles. Good words will not give my people good health and stop them from dying. Good words will not get my people a home where they live in peace and take care of themselves. I'm tired of talk that comes to nothing. It makes my heart sick when I remember all the good words and all the broken promises. There has been too much talking by men who have had no right to talk. Too many misrepresentations have been made. Too many misunderstandings have come up between the white men about the Indians. If the white man wants to live in peace with the Indian, he can live in peace. There need be no trouble. Treat all men alike. Give them all the same law. Give them all an even chance to live and grow. All men were made by the same great spirit chief. They are all brothers. The earth is the mother of all people, and all people should have equal rights upon it. You might as well expect the rivers to run backwards as that any man who was born a free man should be contented when penned up and denied liberty to go where he pleases. Let me be a free man, free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade where I choose, free to choose my own teachers, free to follow the religion of my fathers, free to think and talk and act for myself, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty.
Okay, after reading that speech, I mean, what do y'all take away from it? What's the main points that he's trying to make, you think? Andrew?
That they can share the land with each other and it shouldn't be taken by forcefully.
Right? They can share the land with each other. It didn't have to be taken forcefully. He just said at the end, what did he say at the end? He said, free to think and talk and act for myself, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty. He's telling them, he said, look, we would have done what you said. Y'all just didn't have to forcefully take our land from us. You didn't have to do us like that, basically. So, anybody else? Anything else? What about the good words that he talked for half of the speech about? What do y'all think about the good words?
How they say all these good things about the Indians and their land and what they're going to do to fix what they've done to them, but they never do.
But they never do, right? Nothing ever pans out, and nothing's ever the truth. Because remember what we read when I was reading the background. They made a deal to take them back to Oregon, to their homeland, and what they do? They took them to Oklahoma, a place they've never been, and half of their tribe died on the way there. So it's already starting out as a bad relationship, and apparently it just kept getting worse and worse with the good words, the promises that kept getting broken, everything like that nature. So that leads us into the comprehension check on page 309, where it says, what is one problem that Chief Joseph has with the good words of others? What is it? What is the problem he has with the good words? We just kind of said it.
Because they never go through with them.
They never go through with them, but what else do they not do? They just don't what to his people? They don't,
Reject him.
no, not the, no, it's a word starts with an H.
Help.
Help. The good words don't help his people. All they are words, right?
That's what.
And most, just, yeah, say they don't help his people. The good words do not help his people, is what you can put. Alright. Everybody got that one?
Yeah.
Alright, number 2. According to Chief Joseph, what is one thing that the white man needs to do to live in peace with the Indian? It says it in the book. What is it, Andrew?
There needs to be no trouble and they should be treated equally.
Treated equally. It says in the book, it says in the speech right here, treat all men alike. Treat all men alike. So you can write, treat all people the same, treat all men alike. And another class asked me earlier what it meant when it just says men. Well, back in the day, back in that time, and even before then, when they're talking about men and women, they wouldn't write men and women, they would just write men. Treat all men alike. Because we are all flesh, we're all people, we're all man. Because that's just the scientific term. We are all mankind. You know the word mankind? We are all part of mankind. That's what they mean, man. Okay, everybody got that one down now? So, I want y'all to remember that, treat all men alike, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to bring something up on the board here in a second, that after reading this over the last couple weeks, it just made me think about something, so I found something else. Number 3, according to Chief Joseph, what is one thing all men have in common? If you know where that just was in the book, treat all men alike, the answer to this one's right under it, basically. According to Chief Joseph, what is one thing all men have in common? Andrew?
They were all made by the same great spirit.
They were all made by the same great spirit. So, same great spirit chief. So, that must have just been what he believed in, right? Just a great spirit chief. But it can be whatever you believe in. We were all, no matter what you think or believe, at the end of the day, however we were created, we were all created the same way. So that leads back to the created equal part, that all men should be equal, treated fairly. So, just remember that. We all came from the same place, basically. And then number 4, it says, what activities does Chief Joseph associate with being a free man? Charlie?
Free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade, free to choose his own teachers, free to follow, and free to think and talk to himself.
Right. So, he pretty much listed everything. So what does that mean, that a free man is? What is it? Huh? They can do anything. What activities does Chief Joseph associate with being a free man? Any activity. He associates it all. But the most important thing to remember is the bottom part. Because we can all make our own decisions, good or bad, right? But if you make a bad decision, look at the bottom. It says, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty. So, he's saying, okay, I'll be able to make my own choices. I want you to let me make my own choices. But if I make a mistake, I'll accept the penalty. I'll accept the consequences. Okay? So, just get that down. And let me pull up the other thing I wanted to show y'all real quick. Can you wait 5 minutes? Maybe less, not even that long. Alright. Have all of y'all heard of the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln?
No.
No? Did you say yes, Peyton? No, y'all haven't at all? Never heard it?
No.
I've heard
Wow.
it.
Okay, well, this is a very famous speech by Abraham Lincoln. He was president during the Civil War. No, the 15th.
Oh, we tried, I heard Boone's Learning.
And, okay, the reason I want to show y'all this is because of the similarities, okay? Abraham Lincoln wrote this in, I saw it earlier on here, where's it at? 1863. This Indian chief wrote this speech in 1879. So, 16 years later, he wrote this speech. So, I'm going to show you that he took some liberties and took some of the stuff out of the Gettysburg Address to add into his own thing, and it makes it very ironic because he's speaking to the American government. The same people who made this speech, he's telling this speech to. So, let me read a little bit of this. I'm honestly gonna, since y'all haven't heard it before, I'm gonna read the whole thing. It's like one of my favorite speeches. It's short. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. So bang, that's the part. He brings that right out. He says that, treat all men alike. He says the same thing in his speech. He just says it a little bit differently. But I love that quote right there. Proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. So, another thing. Now we are engaged in a great civil war. They're basically going to war with the Indians and the army because they're taking their troops and sending them to the Indians and making them do things. And now he's talking about a great civil war. They're basically in their own civil war. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that night, lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather, to be dedicated here to that the unfinished work which they fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they give the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Why does it sound like a veteran?
Huh?
At the end, it sounds like the prison.
Because that's kind of the pledge and this, they were kind of starting to become a thing at the same time, okay? And the writing, the way people write was the same back then. So just imagine how y'all write today in class. Y'all don't all write exactly the same thing, but the style y'all uses are the same, right? Y'all use the same type of style because y'all learned growing up the same way. All the people back then writing stuff like that grew up learning it the same way, okay? So that's why they write it like that. Okay, so what I want y'all to do now, I want y'all to get out a piece of paper, or I can give you one, and we're gonna write a summary over what we just read. Not over the Gettysburg Address, but what we just read. What is it? Yes. But one thing I will say, I don't mind if you don't have the title in your first sentence of this one. If you want to put it in there on this one, you can. The speech, a lot of times speeches don't get their names or titles until after they give them. I doubt took this speech with him and had it titled "Words Do Not Pay." I just doubt it. I think after the speech got published, it became that, okay? So don't worry about putting that title in there, because you're gonna talk about that. You can talk about the title because it's a big part of the summary, where he says, "Good words do not last long unless they amount to something. Words do not pay for my dead people." That's a big part of it, okay? So, same thing, 5 to 7 sentences, do the best you can. I'll come around and help you, whoever needs help. If you need help making a first sentence, I can do that. Y'all wanna do that together real quick? Make a first sentence? I mean, you don't have to use my first sentence, but we can make one together right quick if y'all want to. Okay, so, you can start it off by saying, in this summary, I will tell you about a speech made by Chief Joseph of the Nez. It's in the top of the background where it says of the Nez Perce tribe. Nezperce. See it? Okay, and that could be the end of that sentence. But logically, what should come next after that sentence? After we tell you that it's a speech, what do we need to know? What the speech is about. What's the main part of the speech? Tell me why he's making the speech and who it's to. Remember, say something about it being to Congress, that he's making the speech to Congress. Okay?